This is the limitless Keith Lee.
This is Brody King.
This is Angel Garza.
Will Ospreay.
Hornswoggle.
Pentagon Jr.
The Mexican Rey Fenix.
King Ricochet.
Concrete Rose, Sunny Kiss.
And I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the Busted Wide Open.
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 Boston wide open.
Busted wide open. Thank you.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome everybody to BWO Live, coming to you from across the Busted Wide Open universe of Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. This is the BWO Mailbag. I got it right that time, number 98.
Yeah, buddy.
My name is Nick Howell.
And I am Sir Ian Dangers. And yeah, you got to get it right. We got 100 coming up in 2 episodes. You got to get it right by then. That's the whole point. It's the show where we answer your questions about whatever you want. Yes, we are a wrestling show, but on this show, we answer wrestling questions and anything else that you might desire. If you want to ask a question, all you have to do is head over to linktree.com/BWO. Find our Patreon or YouTube page, or you can just go to patreon.com/BWO or our YouTube page, and you can just sign up for one of the basic tier, and you can ask us questions right here on this show, which we will answer in front of everybody who listens to this show. That's right. They'll all hear your question get asked and hear our answer to it, whatever that may be. We love answering questions on the show because we never know what to expect, because it could be anything. We've been asked anything, and it's a lot of fun. It's like a shooting gallery. It's kind of crazy. So thank you all for tuning in today. As always, we are live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. This show goes on right after our Tuesday night show, which starts at 5. So this one usually goes off about like 6:30, 6:45, right before 7 o'clock. So if you're just catching this later on, that's when you can catch this live, which is a fun way to catch it. Got a lot of people over in chat. Very lively right now. Thanks, guys, for showing up. But, Nick, let's not dawdle. We got a lot of questions, and I hear we have some good ones.
We do.
Lead it off, if you would,
Well,
please.
I'm going to lead it off with, we had a Nick Guard 1 sighting. Abe.
Oh!
Abe is here, so we can start now. Abe
good.
got one of
Finally.
those
Thank
giant
God.
freaking Trip XXL gaming mouse pads that I think
the big one, like
Andy got one.
Andy got
it
it?
goes over
Yeah.
your whole desk. So be prepared. You ordered like a desk length pad for your whole keyboard and mouse setup. You're really going to like it. And you get to see our cartoon faces right there. And Dog Ziggler will be on your desk.
all blowed up. All blowed up.
What else did you get? You got, you got the Tunes tee, the basic Tunes tee. Nice, dude. You're really going to enjoy those. Make sure you post some pictures in the Facebook group for us so we can see when you get them. Thanks for that, Abe.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it,
Anna.
man.
Yes.
Thanks for the support,
Yes.
brother.
And thank you, Anna, for reminding me. Yes, we go out at 5 p.m./8 p.m. Eastern time.
There's
for our
life
regular
outside
show.
of California, Sir Ian Dangerous.
That is nonsense, and you know it. I'm a California boy, and this is the center of the world as we know it. So, So anyway, thank you very much, Nick Guard 1, for
Yes.
delivering that beautiful
Yes.
stuff. Hope you
Kicking
enjoy.
us off is the former boobiest champ who must relinquish his title as Booby Chief, and he did promise to relinquish the new necklace as well. So
Oh, did he?
He did.
Oh my!
He did put it up. So
It's going to be an ugly Survivor Series, man. I have a feeling there's going to be get back. It's going to be get back in Survivor Series.
he says number one. Should say Martin Welch. Number one with a
Martin
bullet.
Welch.
Coming in
Yeah.
first today, Mr. Martin Welch says, hello, ladies and gents of phenomenal all others. It is I, your former BWO Pick'ems Booby Champ. Again, I want to say to Mr. Silent Assassin, Assassino Silencio.
Assassino Silencio. Yes.
Well done on sucking more than I. All is good in sunny Sarf London. Sharp.
Always good. Always good in sunny South London. Right? Yeah.
South London.
He's over there. Sunny South London.
That's no.
Right?
No, just
It's Cockney.
no.
No? No? You know what nemesis means?
Yes.
Righteous infliction of divine intervention. manifested in an appropriate agent, personified in this instance by an horrible cunt. Me. Sorry. He said a Cockney accent. There
You
you,
didn't
go.
say slag near enough.
You slag.
You slag.
Piss off.
Oi!
Automatically
Right.
Cockney. Oi!
Oh, man.
Oi, you! Urchin! You little urchin! Get over here!
Oh, he says, all is good in sunny South London. The kids are good. The wife started a new job with the London Ambulance Service on Monday. Sadly, we lost our bearded dragon last week. Oh. He was an old boy and died peacefully of old age. Other than that, it's been a good couple of weeks. My question isn't going to be CM Punk or Bryan Danielson based. I have a feeling you might get a few. You have to recast any film of your choosing using only AEW wrestlers. As always, I wish you all peace, love, and copious fried chicken. Thank you, Mark.
Oh, fried chicken.
So let me get this straight. You and I have to pick a movie and agree on which movie we're going to do? That's dangerous.
Aliens.
Sold.
In one.
Twist my tattooed arm.
Okay.
All right.
It's a big cast.
That is, yeah, it is quite the ensemble, that's for sure. Obviously, we got to start with Ripley, Sigourney Weaver.
Okay.
Wow. Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa is my Ripley.
What?
Yeah.
Thunder Rosa is your Ripley. I'm not mad at that.
Doing what she needs to do against all odds. Like, that's the kind of... Well, there's probably a better one, if I'm being honest, if I'm describing it like that. But Thunder Rosa is the first one that popped in my head.
Shotzi Blackheart.
This AEW wrestlers.
Is it
We can
AEW only?
use AEW wrestlers.
Oh, God damn it. Anna Jay.
No.
Yep.
It's chat saying Ruby Soho. We've barely seen her wrestle.
Doesn't need to wrestle. She's an AEW wrestler, and she'd be a great Ripley.
She would be a good Ripley.
Chat is correct. Chat is correct. Ruby Soho, 100%. Yep. Yeah.
All right, so
5
Hicks.
Hicks.
Sean, what's his name?
Hey, I'm Hudson, sir. He's Hicks. Hicks. Ooh.
The lieutenant.
Hangman Page. Hangman
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Hangman Page. He's got a
Gotta be.
hang dog, but he does the right thing all the
Gotta
time. Hangman Page is Hicks.
Yep.
MJF is Hudson.
Yes.
Lieutenant Gorman.
Ooh.
QT
The
QT Marshall.
librarian. Peter Avalon. Just kind of a mealy mouth, kind of you just.
No, it's pretty Peter Avalon. His former girlfriend was librarian. Oh, I guess he's one of the librarians.
Yeah, they both
isn't he?
did the shh kind of thing.
They debuted as the stupid
Yeah.
thing. What? Yeah. Now he's pretty Peter
Right.
Avalon. He comes out on a
Right.
bed and he's with the wingmen. You think he's Lieutenant Gorman? I'm not mad at that. I just.
Yeah, he really didn't have much to do except having he went out kind of strong. You know, he went out pretty badass, just popping a grenade.
All right. I'm not mad at it.
Um
I'll allow it. What about Vasquez? Vasquez should be Thunder Rosa.
oh,
Vasquez is Thunder Rosa. And actually we'd be casting a Latina this time as opposed to
I don't yeah, she's got kind of the attitude, but I'm looking at something like a Diamante or something like that as a Vasquez. Just like, I mean, especially she's got the.
I wouldn't be mad at Diamante either, but I think Thunder Rosa has got a little bit more of the star quality. And let's face it, Vasquez is one of the stars of that movie. Even though I believe her real name is Jeanette Hunsberger,
Yeah.
and she currently She currently runs a bra shop for large busted women in Los Angeles.
Hey now.
A chain, actually, at this point. So props to her.
Nice.
Let's see. Who else we got? Sarge.
We got Apone.
Plays Apone.
Apone. Look into my eye.
Who's Apone? Look into my eye. Let's see.
Check those corners. Check those corners.
Apone.
There might be no movie in the world that I've seen more times than Aliens. By a long shot.
Literally have a tattoo. That's why it's perfect to recast this. I think that Powerhouse Hobbs should be Frosty. So that leaves Apone open for somebody. And I kind of feel like Apone should be Taz.
I love that. I love that.
It just seems to fit. You know.
I love that. Especially if he can keep the accent.
Every meal of feast, every paycheck a parade. Welcome to the Marine Corps. I said, stole that shit, Hudson.
Hudson, come here. Come here.
Come here.
That's perfect.
Taz
as Apone is perfect.
Yep.
And he dies early.
Who is Bishop.
Ooh.
Who plays my personal god, Lance Hendrickson?
Orange Cassidy.
Jesus freaking Christ.
I just blew your mind because it's perfect. That's the one I was waiting for.
Jesus jumped up Christ. That is freaking perfect. That mind officially blown. God damn it. All right. Who else are we missing from
Newt. Newt.
Oh, Newt. Marco Stunt.
Perfect. I legit Layla Hirsch popped into my head, but Marco Stunt's perfect.
Yeah. Marco Stunt can be the face hugger. Yes. Legit Layla Hirsch can be.
He just comes running up and jumps on your face.
Who's the mother alien? I vote Lance Archer.
I mean, Chris Statlander. She is an alien?
Is an alien? Yeah.
All she's trying to do is spread her brood. And here come these Terrans that just start shooting the place up for no reason. Like,
little weird there, Nick. That's a little odd, but
I've actually had kind of a pseudo debate club about. I had to argue in favor of the alien queen in Aliens.
I mean,
and how the humans were the evil ones that were trying to terraform a planet and take it over.
Yeah. From her perspective, you can see it. Yeah. I got you. So automatically, you're gonna root for Chris Statlander. I got you.
I mean, she is the only alien on the roster technically. So I mean,
technically, you are correct, sir. I can't argue with your logic there.
She also did have very long arms and was trying to boop constantly. So
she was constantly trying to boop. And she was trying to boop with her weird little second mouth tongue thing while Sigourney Weaver was in the loader. You're right. Yeah. Totally right. Did we miss anybody? Any other characters in the movie that we're forgetting about?
I'm running down the evil guy, corporation guy that Paul Doodad.
Burke.
No, what's his name? Mad About You, Paul. What?
Yeah, Paul
Reiser. Thank you.
But his name in the movie is Burke. Yeah.
Damn you, Burke.
I mean, that should be MJF. Really. I know we already cast MJF as Hudson.
No.
We got to recast
Cody.
We got to recast Hudson.
Evil corporate guy, or Tony Khan. What is Tony Khan as Burke?
No. Cody is pretty good. I mean, he. I think it's because Paul Reiser bears a passing resemblance to MJF that I want to see them kind of cast
and
that
Tony
way.
Khan,
and I think we can find a. No. I feel like MJF would be a better Burke.
Okay. Who did you cast him for before?
Hudson. We can find a better Hudson. Than that.
Jericho?
We can find a better. Austin Gunn.
That's obscure. Okay.
Think about it. He's always going, whoa! Yeah! He's always super hyped up.
Okay. We can get behind that one. I think that's it for the most part.
It'd be a starring role for me, a breakout role.
Bishop, Queen, Ripley, Newt, Hudson, Hicks, Apone, Frosty, Vasquez. There was the other lady that was the pilot as a bit part, but that was kind of it. She was basically there to get murdered.
Spunkmeyer.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that you? Yeah.
I'm in the pipe.
See,
5 by 5.
The great, like, seriously, such a good line. StarCraft ripped it off. What does it mean? Nothing. It means nothing. Every pilot you ask, they're like, it's just garbled nonsense. But it sounds cool as hell.
Michael Bay does a lot of that in his film. Go back and watch the military stuff in Transformers. It's a bunch of nonsense.
Mm-hmm. But it sounds cool as hell.
Yeah, it does.
But there you go, Martin. There is wrestling AEW recast Aliens, and now I really want to see that
with a
movie.
real alien.
Make it happen.
I mean, that one in the movie was just an animatronic puppet. Like Chris Statlander's a real alien.
Yes, but can you imagine her going at the camera,
or just having that long, like, sort of large intestine hanging off the back of her, just laying it,
just like
squirting eggs off.
She's coming at you going,
yeah.
That'd be kind of weird.
As long as that soundtrack's playing over the top of it, I'd be fine with it.
No kidding. James Horner, right?
You think so? Yeah.
Horner was the first one. No, actually, Horner was the first one.
Was it Newton Howard, wasn't it?
The second one? I think you're right. Yeah.
Aliens.
Taken off of James Horner.
No, it was Horner. It was Horner.
Oh, did?
Score was composed by James Horner. Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was Howard.
Right there, baby. Trivia master.
Good job.
Right here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin Welch. Great question.
Yes.
And thank you, Nick, for liking the first movie I picked.
Made it easy. Next
made
up,
it real easy.
the mop man himself, Mr. Sean Clark, says, "Hello, gentlemen and phenomenal ones. I hope this message finds you living your best life. The people who are happiest often don't have the best of everything. They make the best of everything. Whew. Sometimes it is, in fact, your attitude that needs changing. Sometimes."
Boom. Boom, baby. Boom.
If you had to tell me one song to describe you in your life, what song would it be and why? Jesus. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
That is meta AF.
So remember when we said that we'll answer any question on this show, and that usually they're wrestling questions, but sometimes they're not? This is what we're talking about.
Like, I could write a PhD thesis on this. That's an interesting question.
Oh,
he says his is the best of what's around by the Dave Matthews Band. It's about seeing the bright side in the darkness, holding on to loved ones, and making the best of what's around. My life. Much love, fellas. Thank you, Sean. God. The mop man just...
Sean.
Oh.
Always Sean Sunshine Clark, man. Freaking... I love you, dude. I freaking love you, dude. Thank you. I don't even know that song. I'm just going to go look up that song. I was never a big Dave Matthews guy, but now I'm going to go look up that song. Okay. Don't make me not want to look it up.
Sorry.
Stop that. I'm even wearing sandals, so it's perfectly appropriate.
The drummer for Dave Matthews Band, I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. Phenomenal drummer.
You can literally say the blank for Dave Matthews Band is incredibly talented. That's a talented bunch of
musicians. The Barry sax player was brilliant.
Yeah.
He belonged in a jazz orchestra somewhere.
The violin guy was great. It's ridiculous. I'm not even a fan of Dave Matthews Band, but I appreciate music, like musicianship, when I hear it. One song to describe me and my life.
So do we define that as a set of lyrics? Or do we define that as a song that has a mood?
I think it's whatever it means to you, dude. I think it's whatever you take that as. Like, what describes you?
Me in a song. Jesus Christ. I didn't know if I was going to have to think this much tonight. Because what it's making me do is it's making me kind of relive, like, what was my upbringing like? What were my formative years? What really influenced me? Where did I go? How did I get into tech? Why did I get into tech? I was kind of an accidental IT guy. I didn't want to do that when I was a kid, but somehow I did.
You're getting way too heavy
I know.
about
This is why I was saying I could write a whole thesis about this. Just
It's going to end up being a Machine Head song. We all know this. It's fine.
Probably not, honestly.
Okay. What is it then?
I don't know that I've ever identified with a song and went, that's kind of the story of my life. I don't know that I have any of those. And that's what I'm struggling with. Like the anthem of my life,
Yeah, I
right?
feel you. I feel you because I got a bunch of songs that I'm like, this describes an aspect. This describes an aspect. This describes, because there's some days I wake up and a certain song, I'm like, that's my song. And then other days I wake up and I'm like, that's not my song at all. This is my song. You know, like one to describe everything is pretty hard. That's pretty difficult. But I think I just found one. I think I just found one. The Day I Tried to Live by Soundgarden.
That's a good song. That's a really good song.
It's a damn good song. It's a damn good song. I'm not even going to describe it. Y'all can go listen to it. Try and figure it out.
Abe said juicy, but
no, it's actually, I'm sorry, Abe, that's actually not true. For him, it's WAP. It's WAP.
Wet and gushy.
Wet.
Macaroni in a pot.
Stop it. Okay, that sound needs to never happen again.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what she's talking about. Anyway.
Extra cheese.
Mine was like I get into this kind of stuff. Life was always a struggle. I've never really had a break. I've never really had it easy. I've always been a worker. I've always like fought, clawed, and scratched my way to get something. Until like the last 4 or 5 years. Well, that's not fair. Last 10 years probably. But I mean, whether it was school or friends or family or any of that kind of stuff, I'm just trying to think of like if there's any songs that identify with that. I'll tell you one. I always identified with and I always felt the song Broken Home by Papa Roach.
Ooh, I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
If you know, you know.
Oof. Yeah. That's a rough song, man.
And
that defines your entire
the
life,
anger
though?
and the kind of outburst at the end of the song when it just goes, when they go double time a little bit on it is that's been inner Nick. There's something constantly raging inside.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was rough. Lose Yourself by Eminem. You only get one chance. I don't believe in just one chance. You only got one shot. Do not miss your chance to flow. Opportunity comes once in a lifetime. I'm trying to play the song in my head.
Yeah.
Nah, that's
Mom Spaghetti.
Right. Yo, Mom's made some bomb ass spaghetti. What's up, Mom? Yeah. I'll go with that one. That's because at least that's an element of who Nick is at his very core.
Lose Yourself or Broken Home?
For my early years, like probably the first 18 years of my life.
Oof. Yep. Do you think it still defines you though? It sounds like it's early Nick.
It certainly shaped my character. It certainly influenced my decisions later in life. It's certainly such as not really a huge fan of marriage, not really a huge fan of don't want to have kids. Right? Because, and this is f***ed up, and we're digging into some Nick.
Uh-oh.
I never wanted to potentially put anyone through what I went through. Let that sink in for a second.
Right.
So I shaped my life around never potentially putting anyone through what I went through.
Do you think it's because you're worried that you would make the same mistakes?
Didn't even want it to be a chance that I could.
Right.
Because it was that that big of a deal.
Impactful. That impactful that you were like, I don't even want to roll the dice on the possibility that I'm going to screw somebody else up in the same way.
Yep.
Yep. And it still resonates with you so much that's like
we're gonna have to move on pretty quick here. I'm gonna get upset.
Okay. All right, buddy. Well, much love, man.
Love you guys.
Love you too, man.
Thanks, Mom. Man. You rock, man.
Oof.
Next up, Abe said, good evening, everyone. I hope and pray everyone is having a great week so far. Couple of things and then a question. Can we please acknowledge and praise how awesome Excalibur is? Yes, we freaking can.
Yes. He's crushing
I was
it.
able to watch pay for my first ever AEW pay-per-view. Not only did it deliver on many levels, I also noticed how good and valuable Excalibur is at that table. As much as we hate on Michael Cole, we should, if not more, give praise to Excalibur.
And it's funny because Michael Cole is great at his job, but his job is not to do what Excalibur does.
Right.
And Excalibur is insanely good at his job because he's a play-by-play guy who knows the moves. Michael Cole is essentially there to be he's there to call the match and call the moves, but he's also there to bring in the sponsorships, timeout, everything with commercials and everything. And Excalibur, that's not the stuff he's great at. He's great at calling the match.
He does all that too exceptionally well.
He does, but he's not as slick as Michael Cole is about that. And the problem that we have with Michael Cole is his slickness. He's too slick at it, and we sense that. It feels too produced, doesn't feel emotional enough. And one thing that Michael Cole admitted recently when Pat McAfee came on the show was that he had become too produced and too slick. And he needed to get back some of that emotion, and Pat taught him that. But as Abe's saying here with Excalibur has the passion, but he lets the other guys do the emotion. Jim Ross did the emotion. If you watch Jim Ross, if you listen to Jim Ross during that All Out pay-per-view, he crushed it on the emotion. Like we've been down on JR a bit. He crushed it at AEW.
At All Out, you mean?
They were great. Thank you. At All Out. AEW's All Out. And Excalibur's crushing it by being able to immediately tell you the name of the most obscure goddamn moves.
It's not even that. It's bigger than that.
It's amazing.
You could not have picked a better guy than Excalibur to be the operator of the revolving forbidden door. Uh-oh. You got
It's okay.
tsunami warning?
There's a emergency alert. Apparently someone's getting kidnapped here
Imagine
in LA.
that. My next thing was going to be, oh, cool, high-speed chase. Let me pull up the live stream. Nowhere else on the planet do they live stream high-speed chases than Los Angeles. Thanks, OJ.
Nowhere else on the planet do they send loud alerts through your phone being turned off. My shit's on silent, and they sent an alert through my silence on my phone to be like, there's been someone kidnapped. They're being chased down the 10 freeway. Turn on your TVs and y'all watch.
Yeah, right.
Welcome to Los Angeles. Anyway, we
could not have picked a better guy. Kevin Kelly, maybe Kevin.
But even he doesn't have
operate
all
and
the
to understand all of the history and the legacy of not only PWG, New Japan, Impact. Like an Excalibur is not an exhaustive encyclopedia of wrestling, but by God, that man knows more in his pinky fingernail than I know about the entire world of wrestling. His ability to call back references, and does he have cheat sheets and helps? Yeah. But I mean, that's the knowledge that's in that guy's head, the move sets of every wrestler on multiple promotions, the names, the history, the feuds, all of that stuff. That's what I appreciate. It transcends what he's doing in AEW for the last 2 years, because he's seen most of these guys come up through PWG, come up in New Japan, and other, right? So there might not be anybody that's a more passionate fan of professional wrestling than Excalibur.
Couldn't agree more.
Across the board. So, I mean, that's what makes him a great play-by-play guy. Totally says, number 2, MJF is... Oh, hang on one second. Jay threw in a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, thank you, Jay. Appreciate
Going back to
that.
the songs, he says, as an Asian kid from a third world country that grew up in my mid-teens in America, I don't know a song that fits me.
Huh.
I couldn't find one for myself, much less anybody else.
Right. It's hard to find one that encompasses everything.
I think there's a way
You
to
know?
identify periods of time, epochs, if you will, throughout your life.
If you look at If you look at what Sean said, that's basically his current philosophy. The song that he picked. It's not even something that defines him. It's just his current philosophy and outlook.
Right.
So it's really how that question is a great question. It's just how you interpret it, how you want to define yourself, and how you want to define a song that defines you.
Yeah, totally.
So it doesn't have to be like all about your history. It has to. It can be who are you now and who do you want to be.
Yeah.
So
back to Abraham. He says number 2, MJF is a dick.
Yep.
That's it. I'm just kidding. His entrance was awesome and such a heel move to work the crowd like that. I hope he never turns face ever. Agreed.
Working the Y2J angle. We didn't even talk about that on the show, on the recap show where Jericho's
I got worked hard.
You did. You were pissed.
Oh, because I'd heard. I was just like, he brought me the one. Is the jacket coming back, please? Yes. They cut the lights out. I thought I was going to see the blinky lights again. Oh, you son of a bitch. Yes, I agree. He should never turn face ever. Thank you. Number 3 says, here's my main question. In all seriousness, specifically to those that think that WWE has died and gone to wrestling heaven after this Sunday's All Out, what, in your opinion, would be the 1 or 2 things that would resurrect WWE for them to grab their attention again, to keep them engaged? I personally think WWE has an audience. So does the Nielsen ratings. It's very clear every week.
Yeah.
That audience is not stupid for following WWE and enjoying what they have to offer. But for those fans...
Say that louder. Say that louder.
Let me read that one more time for the people in the back.
Read it again. Read it again.
I personally think WWE has an audience that is not stupid for following WWE and enjoying what they have to offer.
Thank you.
Well said, Abe.
Well said. Well said.
But for those fans that left WWE for other promotions, what do you think WWE has to do to get them back?
Well, and that's the thing is that well said, you're not stupid if you like WWE, but a lot of people left WWE because WWE insults some people's intelligence. We had it in the chat earlier. I feel WWE insults my intelligence. And you know what? Fair enough. And one of the reasons why they do that is because I feel like there is an attitude in WWE of what we do week to week doesn't matter. It's a bigger picture thing. We're here to create moments and not consistency. They're quite disorganized with a lot of their booking. And they don't really show that they have respect for their talent in terms of how that talent is booked and their pushes and et cetera, et cetera. I think a lot of people would come back to WWE if their booking became more consistent, if they treated a lot more of their mid and low card like they were worthwhile talents and gave them consistent pushes and storylines that were worthwhile and that we could invest in, as opposed to treating them like jumped up jobbers.
Yeah.
That's one of the main things. Being consistent with your storylines, paying those storylines off, showing that we can trust you. If we're going to invest time in your product, that you will make our interest pay off in a nice cathartic finish to a storyline, is a huge deal that WWE has, it's kind of a harsh thing to say, but betrayed its fans on a lot over the years, where we're not given storyline conclusions that make us feel satisfied or happy that we're watching the show. They're not giving us match endings or outcomes that are making us feel like we have invested our time wisely. And that's something just right there that it's not a specific answer because, you know, there are so many little specifics that are underneath that umbrella that they would have to work on. And so as a general answer, it does seem kind of nebulous how they would actually accomplish that. But I really do feel that, like, philosophically, they do need to change how they book and how they view their own product. Not that they have to not, you know, angle for a younger audience or a PG-13 rating or the product that they're trying to put out. It's just a matter of treating their audience with a bit more respect in terms of how they consistently show their storylines and show their booking.
I think you're kind of arguing both points there.
How so?
I'm not sure. I didn't quite follow the thread.
Okay. I'm. Do you agree that right now WWE is driving people away
No.
by not making? You don't think WWE is driving people away?
I think no, because 1.5 to 2 million people are still showing up and watching the show.
They are still,
So-
and you even just said still. We've seen their ratings steadily decline over the years, and while that does also, I know, mean that there are people watching it on other media.
I don't
Whether it be YouTube or
I don't
whatever.
think people are stopping watching. And here's why.
Okay.
I think people are
Okay.
watching too much wrestling, and that's one of the things that's forming the tribalism. I think they're not choosing which ones to watch that they like. They're watching all of them, and it's becoming my thing versus that thing. Here's a hot note. Nick didn't watch WCW when it was on. I've
Okay.
gone back and watched a lot of it over the last 10 years or so. But I watched Raw. And in 99 when SmackDown came around, I watched that one. That was it. Like, I didn't watch the other stuff. I heard about it, but we didn't have social media and stuff. It was like, hey, did you see what happened on WCW? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't,
right.
Who's Scott Hall? I don't know.
Who's Scott?
The point is that I don't think people, I think people are still watching, but I think people are formulating these opinions based on favoritism of one style over the other, and that is transcending into the entire company and how
Sure.
bad they are versus the thing that they like. And
But that's actually, I think Abe's point here is, how does WWE keep them engaged and not looking elsewhere and saying this is better? Yeah, exactly, Dog Ziggler. He's
I
fired up
know
about this kind of
he's
topic.
just tired of talking about this shit. I think it's
He's obviously not. He's way too excited
that's
about
fair.
it.
He just wants he wants to finish off The Rock once and for all, because The Rock is
He does.
superhuman and he's still living over there.
He's not living with this coming out
Abe,
of him.
if you thought your
Oof.
Roman Reigns toy got bad treatment, you might have missed this
The Rock
earlier.
got it
The
worse.
Rock has been completely cut in half.
Yeah, you.
He's
Yeah,
broken in half, literally.
My God!
The interesting thing about this is how much wrestling we have going on right now that enables this kind of activity. But to his question, what can WWE do to bring it back? I don't know if there's a right answer for that universally. I like yours. When I finish watching something and I have that cathartic moment of just, oh, that
What
felt
excited
good.
you about the end?
I'm
Hold
glad
on.
I.
What excited you? You said something after AEW's All Out.
I love professional
You
wrestling
said-
again.
You said, I can't wait till Wednesday.
That
Yes. I thank you.
during
Dog-
the
Dog-
Attitude Era. Thank you.
Ziggler said it before I could say it. He said, I can't wait till Wednesday either. Exactly, Dog Ziggler. We can't wait for Wednesday. That's engagement. That's people wanting to be engaged with the product. What's causing that? What's
Smart
causing
booking.
that engagement? But beyond that, feeling like if I keep watching this, I will see
There'll be a
something-
payoff.
There's a payoff.
It's safe to invest.
And that's what I'm talking about. It's safe. That's exactly what I'm saying with
Yeah.
WWE. How do you get people re-engaged? Earn back their trust that you will pay off their interest with something that is worthwhile, that is cathartic.
The last times
If I invest in Bianca Belair, am I going to see her have an amazing moment like at WrestleMania? Or am I going to see her get punked out by Becky Lynch at SummerSlam?
Right.
Which is it?
Both.
Right. So you can't trust it because you never know what's going to happen.
The last two that I
And-
can remember are Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30 getting that payoff from the run-up from the Yes Movement,
Sure.
and Kofi Mania.
Kofi Mania.
That's it.
Those are big ones.
Seth
I'd say there's been a
cash-in,
few
maybe.
other-
We invested in that
Yeah.
year of him with the Money in the Bank
That
contract.
was great.
And we got that huge
There's been
payoff.
a few. There's been a few. I think they've had quite a few, but they've also had a more often than not, a bunch of stinkers. So
And-
that's a big
and
one.
here's the other
I
thing.
think it's just
AEW's
the
been
book we
around for
focused
2
on.
years, less than.
Sure.
Let's not make them out to
And
be
one of-
God's favorite wrestling yet.
No. And one of those was during the
They
pandemic.
still have a lot of work to do on their booking. they got
As they say, as they say, they're holding a hot hand right now, but the game goes on.
They got a hot hand because they got all the names you recognize now, especially after Sunday.
Well, they got a bunch.
So
but WWE is still the big
they
daddy. And I think that, again, WWE has to earn fan trust back.
I agree with that.
They have the talent. They have the money. They've got the production. They have a lot of stuff going for them. And they still I think they put out an entertaining product. But they also have a lot of issues. And I think the major one they have to work on is fan engagement, as Abe is saying here. And that comes from the trust that they're going to pay off their storylines in a way that makes us feel like our time has not been wasted.
Well said. Abe also said here, hot take, AEW is not WWE's competition. I think it is an alternative. If people can't see that, they are part of the problem with tribalism. Saying stuff like that is what breeds tribalism.
No, I think AEW is not WWE's competition. It's an alternative. That is 100%
That is true, but then don't follow that up by saying, well, if you can't see that, then you're just part of the problem. That's the tribalism nature, right?
No, I don't.
If you don't think what I think is right, then you're wrong and you're the problem. Like, we have to avoid statements like that.
But here's the thing: is that I take Abe's point.
I do too. I understand what he's implying. I get it.
And honestly, like, it is a cry to look inward. Like, are you looking at AEW and WWE as being in competition, or are you looking at them both as alternate forms of entertainment? Because if you're looking at them as competition and saying it's us versus them, he's right. That's where the problem's coming from. And there needs to be a look internally and saying, am I part of the problem? Am I someone who's taking this as a competition and an us versus them situation and a black and white situation? And if so, then I need to watch myself and not be like that. That's what I think he's saying here. I don't think that Abe's being part of the problem by saying this. I agree with Abe by saying
Stop hate watching wrestling you don't like. You know? Why are you hate watching something if you don't really like it? That's Jay threw in 100 bits and said my only criteria.
It's a good hot take.
Yeah, Jay threw in 100 bits said my only criteria for watching wrestling is don't bore me and put on a consistent good matches. As a result, I stopped watching main roster 3 years ago. Nothing to do with liking AEW or being an indie guy. Just don't bore me or make me feel like an idiot.
Sure. That's something that they're obviously not boring 2 million people a week still. Or they may be, but they're not boring them enough to turn them off.
Right.
They're getting those people to come back. So they're not so boring that they're driving away those people.
And Abe said, thanks for the CM Punk episode, the bonus episode. Thanks for your hard work as always. Thanks for making our love of wrestling grow each week. Thank you, Abe. Appreciate it, man.
BWO for life.
BWO for life, indeed.
Much, appreciate it very much, dude. Great topic, man. Good Lord.
Stuff.
I got Nick and I riled up.
And MJF is a dick. Totally. Next up, Dubstep Rob says, hi, guys. My question is at the end, but first, a statement. And I pre-read this a little bit, so grab your Kleenexes, folks. I want to take a moment to acknowledge what this program has meant for me. I've been listening since about show 60. I feel like a part of this community, so I wanted to share. For the past 70 days, my son has been in the hospital, 30 days in the ICU. For a few weeks, we weren't sure he would survive. I'm happy to say that we expect to go home later this week. Throughout this ordeal, I always had BWO shows to lift my spirits, give me laugh out loud moments, and simply take my mind off of reality when needed. I'm writing this in the spirit of Sean Clark. When people touch us, we should let them know. So many times things happen that touch us and we fail to acknowledge them, so thank you. Thank you for doing 3 shows a week, watching so I don't have to, and essentially being a positive force in my life. I'm proud to say I'm a phenomenal one. Oh, I'm tingling.
God damn, Rob. I'm so happy to hear your son's getting out of there and coming home, man. I had no idea that was happening, man.
It's a very private.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you so much for that, Rob.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us, and I'm so glad your boy's okay.
Yeah, dude. I'm very honored that we could help in any small way. So,
if Ian and I yelling at each other about wrestling is comforting,
thank you.
By God, we're gonna do it.
That's comforting. All right. No, but thank you, man.
Yes.
In all seriousness, thank you. Former champ, Rob Hudson.
A grand BWO
That's a
champion.
That's a champion. Grand champion, by the way.
Defended it well.
So
he barely lost. Like you
Thank
guys
you.
don't
He
even
did. He
know.
came back
Like, look
strong.
at the stats. But like, he was real close to retain. He was like 3 points away. Really close. He says, as for the question,
thank you for being
mentioned,
thank you for being a positive force in our
Yes.
lives.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, man.
You mentioned licensing of songs the other day, especially Ruby Soho by Rancid. How much does that cost? In my mind, it would be nominal as it gets more ears on the music, but perhaps it's a lot. Tell me about music licensing. Much love to all. Thanks for being part of my tribe, Dubstep Rob. So I've
Thank
looked
you,
into
Rob.
this.
This is
So you guys know I've done a few podcasts over the years.
I can't wait.
I've actually looked into what it would cost to license a sort of AAA title song, a Taylor Swift song, or Led Zeppelin, by God, if you got that big of a checkbook. It's about $150,000. If we wanted to have a song that we could have in perpetuity for the length of this show, it would have to be confined to this show, regardless of if it was 2 episodes or 2,000 episodes. But we could have that for $150,000. That's what it costs. You don't even want to begin to go down the rabbit hole of what it takes to get that done between agents and managers and publishers.
But let me speak specifically to what Rob is asking about here.
I wanted to get that out
Ruby
of the way
Soho
first.
by Rancid. Yeah, no. And actually, I'm gonna slide into this by saying that if you remember Bryan Danielson, you mentioned $150,000 for a Taylor Swift song. When Bryan Danielson was in Ring of Honor, his entrance music was The Final Countdown by Europe. And when they wanted to license that song, when they were told you have to license this in going forward to use this song, and they asked Europe, how much does it cost to license it? Europe said $50,000. Not one time and use it in perpetuity, $50,000 every time they used it. Every time Daniel Bryan came to the ring, and if he won the match, use it again, that's another $50,000. Every time, $50,000. And the reason Daniel Bryan did not come out to Final Countdown, or Bryan Danielson, at AEW on Sunday was because Tony Khan, a billionaire, decided that to use the Final Countdown would be too exorbitant to afford. This is a guy who's gone out and gotten specific music for Orange Cassidy with the Pixies. He went out and got Jungle Boy his own music, and he decided that Europe was asking too much for freaking Final Countdown. Europe, you're out of your goddamn minds. You could have
had... It's not that good of a song.
Are you crazy? If you've made a reasonable offer, they may still be able to pull it off once. They may now realize what they've done and they may still pull it off, but it may be too late as well. We don't know. All I know is Europe just lost out on a ton of money by having their, thinking their shit doesn't stink.
Thanks, agents
and
managers.
having their shit be too.
That's who did that for them.
Great job. Conversely, here's a story that we found out at the presser after All Out from Ruby Soho. You know why her name is Ruby Soho? She didn't pick it. She's a fan of punk rock. Ruby Riott, whatever you want to call it. Ruby Riott was a fan of punk rock back in WWE. We all knew that because she was wearing all kinds of punk rock stickers on her outfit, patches and whatnot. One of the ones she wore, Rancid. She's a big fan of Rancid. Well, Rancid's guitarist name is Lars Frederiksen. He's also a big fan of CM Punk. He and CM Punk are friends. Punk's a big fan of Rancid, etc. Tim Armstrong as well. Lars Frederiksen and Ruby Riott at the time became friends because she started to get more exposure. He was a wrestling fan, saw she was a punk rock fan. They reached out to each other, became friends. When she left WWE, Lars Frederiksen reached out to her and said, you know what would be really cool is if you called yourself Ruby Soho. And if you did that, you can have our song and use our song as your entrance music because that would be really cool. Lars Frederiksen from Rancid is the reason she has that song. Not because Tony Khan went out and licensed it because it would work with her name, because the band itself wanted her to have that song and that name. That's freaking badass.
That is amazing. By God.
And it was when I saw that press conference, I mean, I got a little dusty because she was really she was shaking telling this story. And who wouldn't? You just had what she called the pinnacle of her 11-year career coming out to that song, to that crowd, chanting her name, the biggest pop she's ever gotten. One of the biggest pop. If Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole hadn't come out on that show, she would have had the biggest pop on the show. Well, the next to CM Punk. But still, she came out to that. You could tell, I mean, of course her emotions are still running high. But that's music licensing. It's nuts. Sometimes it can be affordable, relatively speaking, and sometimes it can be exorbitant, like Final Countdown, and sometimes it can be free if the band is like, you can use it, cut through the lawyers and all that bullshit. We just want to have your music be there. I'm sure Rance is still getting a cut of something. They're not doing it for free, but they're not making it hard, basically. And it was their idea for her to have that song, which is I thought was so cool.
Which Iron Man was it? Which Avengers movie had, or was it Guardians that had the Zeppelin song?
That was Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, Ragnarok. That's what it was.
Yes, that would be Thor Ragnarok. Yeah.
Come from the land of the ice and snow and the midnight sun and the hot bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first
amount
song
of
on Led
money
Zeppelin 3, their third album.
that Taika Waititi put out there to
Music licensing.
to be able to get that song. That's some Marvel you money, is what that is.
Yep.
To be able to go get that one. They are legendary about doing that. The way to go back to the question, it's Abe, or not Abe, it was Rob. Think about it in a per broadcast. So the thing you were describing with Europe, every time that they would use it on a per broadcast, they treat it like any other sitcom TV show that's on once a week. So every time they use a song on a particular episode of something, that's a royalty. Every episode. So if Bryan Danielson wanted to be on TV every week, maybe on both shows, that's twice a week. That's the broadcast. Each show, each broadcast. So that's where you get into there's per use licenses, and then there's in perpetuity licenses. And so we could use a song one time and pay like $3,000 if we wanted to. Or we could do some kind of deal where we could do it in perpetuity for life, 3,000 episodes, however many we wanted to, and pay $150,000. So that's the inner business dealings of the music industry has been messed up for 20 years or more. It needs complete gutting and overhauling with the way a lot of that stuff works, unfortunately. And we've seen it shift with Spotify and things like that. We've seen it shift to singles now instead of albums. There's not a lot of the thing I used to do was getting a new CD or a new LP and pulling the art out and opening the booklets and looking through it and reading the lyrics, and like that's gone. Those days are gone. So what are they doing now? Yeah. Wheelchair. That's why DMCA strikes exist. That's exactly what a DMCA strike is.
Bingo.
When you see a copyright claim on a YouTube video, and in the description you'll see licensed copyright claimed by this publisher, and it'll have the artist in the name. Bet you didn't know that when that happens, even though it's for like a 3-second period in the video, even though if you can't monetize, they still put ads on the video, and the publishers get all 100% of the ad revenue from that. That's the kind of shit that's just upside down in the music business. So when I played Wagner,
greedy
when
companies.
I played Wagner the other day on the All Out recap, I had to snip it off the front of the YouTube video because there was a copyright claim. So
we'd have gotten hit.
But I know how to skate around that. I know how to snip it off the front end and the copyright claim gets released.
But we would have gotten demonetized for that video if you left it in.
Well, they won't demonetize the channel. They won't strike the channel, but they'll give you, after 3 warnings, 3 strikes, they will completely demonetize the channel forever. You can't get it back.
Which is crazy.
It is. So, great question, Rob. The music business is an interesting beast, for sure. And again, glad to hear your son's doing okay.
Very much.
And it's touching words. Really appreciated.
Big time.
Next up, the Mullet King himself, Mr. Brandon Monroe, says, hello, great ones. Hope you're doing well after All Out and are loving life to the fullest. and challenge yourself every day to try something new. My question is, top 3 most shocking wrestlers to go through the forbidden door to AEW. One rule: you can't choose Okada. Damn it. And why your three
Nick well.
justify why your 3 selections would be the most shocking. Goodbye and good night. Bang. Thank you, Brandon.
I'm also going to say WWE's off limits because anyone WWE right now would be shocking, but WWE has specifically taken itself out of the forbidden door running. So I'm going to say non-WWE.
Yeah, okay. Forbidden Door, yes.
Right.
Crossovers
Because you just go,
and defections, yeah, that's happening already.
No, we're fine, but we're saying forbidden door. We're saying people that are active not in WWE or NXT because that's not going to happen. It's not part of the forbidden door theory right
Nick
now.
Khan apparently they all have blinders on. They don't even know AEW exists.
Well, they don't feel like that's not part of their business plan. It's not part of their business model, you know.
I know.
And you're right. It should be. It should be. I agree, Dog Ziggler, but it's not yet. So, top 3, not Okada. That would be shocking. Oh,
Hiromu Takahashi coming over to get the TNT title.
that would definitely be interesting.
I mean, Miro's weak
Shocking,
spot
though.
we've found is his neck. Thank you, Eddie Kingston. And, well, we know Hiromu hates his neck.
I think Ibushi hates his neck more than he does, but Hiromu doesn't hate his neck. He just happened to break it. Well, Dragon Lee broke it, but still, they both helped to break his neck.
Shocking.
Why can't we use Okada? Damn it.
Because that's the obvious one.
What would be shocking at this point? The problem is that now the door is so wide open. I don't know who would be that shocking.
Yeah, because we've seen
Other than
legends come back. We've seen Nagata. We've seen Kojima.
I mean, Tanahashi's already threatened to do it, and he would be one of my top 3.
I think
I'd be like,
Shibata showing up would be a big one.
Well, Jesus freaking Christ, Shibata wrestling at all would be
Shibata
shocking.
walks in with LA Dojo. You know, I think that.
Okay, yep.
Boom.
All of New Japan Strong shows up as a faction with Shibata at the head.
They all just walk out to the top of the ramp and go, "We're here now."
I would.
You guys got something here or what?
Yeah. Every fluid in my body would empty out of me simultaneously. That would be absolutely insane.
As I said on Sunday, that would be the thing. That would be one of those things that mule kicks the door off the hinges.
Bray Wyatt showing up in New Japan.
Whoa.
Would be shocking. You just got shocked, didn't you?
I'm trying to process that.
Okay, it'd be shocking. Not every forbidden door leads to AEW.
That's true.
Bray Wyatt showing up in New Japan.
I don't know what they would do with him.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Because I didn't say that it would necessarily work. I mean, imagine he goes there and is like, I'm going to go become like a straight up, I'm going to show I can wrestle.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do all the gimmicky stuff. I'm just going to be a wrestler.
Bray Wyatt versus Tomohiro Ishii.
Bray Wyatt versus Evil. That's what I'm thinking.
God.
So, shocking?
Yes.
That's 2. We got 2. We need a 3rd.
You said I can't use WWE, though.
Correct.
I'm gonna say it anyway, but we won't count it. I think the other Okada-esque one would be a Ashley Fleer deflection. Defection. Not deflection. Defection.
Yes. I know what you
Rick's inevitable. He's coming.
He's already there.
He's already there. We haven't really seen him on TV.
He's doing videos with Marco Stunt
True.
backstage.
And Orange Cassidy putting the sunglasses on, right? He's
right,
there.
right.
But I'm saying her fiance's also over there. Ashley coming over is a big one. It doesn't have to count as one, but I think that one would shock the world.
It would definitely be shocking. But the thing is, if she leaves WWE, she's going to AEW.
Absolutely.
It would not shock me. It would not
Well, that's
surprise
fair.
me. I mean, like I would expect her to. I would put my money on it.
True.
She shows up in Stardom. I'm going, what the hell? That would be shocking. She shows up in Ring of Honor or Impact. That would be, why is she doing there? That would be shocking. GCW. Charlotte Flair, death match.
She's decided to have a death match. She's decided to do light tube spots.
Charlotte Flair using a pizza cutter on Nick Gage. You've got me shocked. Then I'd be shocked.
All this work with Nia Jax has riled her up, man. She's a shoot fighter now.
Oh my God. Charlotte Flair, Nia Jax, pizza cutter on a pole match. Book it.
God. Okay,
Book it.
Russo, calm down.
Book it.
I'm struggling to find something that would be more shocking than Bray Wyatt showing up in New Japan or Shibata showing up with the entirety of LA Dojo in AEW.
That's two pretty strong ones.
Ospreay showing. I mean, he's been in.
At this point, he's said he's going through the forbidden door. Nothing's going to be shocking. We already know he's going everywhere.
Kyle said Braun Strowman in CZW would be shocking and amazing.
That would be shocking, and it would be
terrifying.
amazing.
That'd be a 7 foot, 385 pound man with light tubes.
Braun Strowman doing death matches would be shocking. You know what? He's got Kyle. I think you nailed it. Braun Strowman doing death matches.
There you go. That's a shocking one.
That's it. Yep. Boom. Mic drop.
There you go, Brandon. Thank you very much, sir. Kyle Cotton next up says there are wedding bells in the air, gentlemen. And as we wait for the wedding of Index and tonight, watch the bachelor party that started in Orlando to see how Drake Maverick got lost in Miami, it got me thinking, what would a wrestling wedding look like if the entire wrestling industry was invited? What would individual characters be doing or would interact with each other to ensure the ultimate chaotic and comedic powder keg that the Forbidden Wedding Party could deliver? Frankly, I think this could be an entire bonus episode you guys could have fun with, as it just elicits images of Toru Yano selling bootleg DVDs of the wedding in the back, Angel Garza hitting on the bridesmaids, and Roman trying to get his family to behave, etc.
You're booking it right now. That's all sounds
But
fantastic.
I'll keep it simple for now, and as you guys to give me 5 things you would love to see in a Forbidden Door wrestling wedding. This can be roles in the wedding, such as wedding planner, guests of the bride and groom, wedding singer, etc. And just for fun, let's say the bride and groom are that of Shotzi Blackheart and Brandy Lauren, since that was a joke that went viral because people took it seriously, including Mick Foley, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kyle.
That was great.
So we have to fantasy
book
a wrestling Forbidden Door wedding.
5 things in a Forbidden Door wedding. So basically 5 things going on. First
I
of
just
all,
thought of one really mean one, and I don't want to say it.
First of all, if it's Shotzi and Brandy getting married, Scarlett's the one coming out of that cake.
You don't come out of cakes at weddings.
Oh, is that the bachelor party?
Well, yeah, kind of. That
well, I don't
she was
care.
A stripper,
Scarlett's coming out of the cake. Have you seen her gimmick?
Yes.
Scarlett's coming out of the cake. Book it. Book it.
Apollo Crews is in charge of catering. Oh, God. I gotta go.
Okay. We're done here. We're done. All right. You're fired. You're fired.
I'm sorry, Apollo. I love you. Commander Aziz!
We have brought only Nigerian food to this wedding. You will enjoy our Nigerian cuisine, or Commander Aziz will put you through the table.
Oh, Angel Garza is in charge of flowers. He's going to be the florist because he's always got all the flowers.
Yeah. Every bridesmaid is finding out about Garza Dong at this wedding. I'm telling you right now. Well, I don't know, Shotzi and Brandy, so maybe not. All the groomsmen will be finding out about. Anyway,
Commander Aziz is going to be there to ensure that you don't take more from the catering buffet than you're supposed to. Sorry.
He's there like just slapping wrists.
No! One portion for you.
Babatunde says no. Let's see. What else would we have?
We need a wedding singer.
A wedding singer. Oh. Well, it's got to be Boogs.
Wrong. Top Dollar rapping.
Who? Top Dollar rapping? Okay.
Top Dollar raps his entire album.
For the
opening.
This is already a shit show.
We need a what do you call it? An official. I don't want to say minister or preacher.
An official.
An official.
Well, the sinister minister. Sinister minister. Come on. Always the weddings.
I was gonna say, Brother Devon.
Ooh, I like that too. Can I get an amen?
Batista's there with his box.
Oh, Deacon Batista? Really? I still vote James Mitchell. Come on, man. I always love his wrestling wedding. Even though he did officiate. I take it back. Not always. Penelope and Kip kind of sucked. But James Mitchell is my dude. I got to get James Mitchell. All right. And just to see, I mean, you know Shotzi would want James Mitchell. You know Shotzi would want James Mitchell.
Yes.
She wants to have like fire pots on the side of the stage, upside down crosses, the whole thing.
You ever been to one of the bigger fancy weddings where the whole wedding party gets announced as they come into the reception and they make entrances?
Yes.
I actually want to formalize that into everybody that's coming in gets their proper entrance, and I'm going to resurrect the Fink to announce everybody.
Oh.
May he rest in peace.
I was going to say Greg Hamilton. But, having Fink do it would be great, too. We'll just go get a really, really strong defibrillator and make that happen.
This is so fun.
The New Day
that Big E is the official. Yes.
Ooh. Dearly beloved. I'm not even going to do a Big E impression right now. This is too loud. Too much. I got to save my energy. We got a lot more questions. But the bottom line is that I think that's 5, right?
Oh, that's more than 5, I think.
Man, that could be a bonus episode. Mm-hmm. That's a fun one. Great call, Kyle.
Good
that's
one.
A fun one.
Put that one in the backlog.
No, Doug. We're done with that one. We're moving on, pal. Sorry.
He wants his own fantasy wedding.
He's mad. He wants Rock back. Yeah. You've disemboweled him. You've killed him. You can't have him back.
Why are you giving?
No,
don't
you
give
can't.
It to him.
Sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. Teasing him. You can't have him back. Sorry. Go play with the steel chair.
Ding ding ding. And now for the main event.
For those of you who think I'm joking, I actually have a steel chair.
Oh my god, that is amazing.
Yeah, there you go, buddy.
Thank you, Kyle. Next up, Billy Stickler says, "Gentlemen, thanks for another good bonus episode. I'm not the biggest fan of CM Punk, but it kept me interested, and I even learned a couple of things. So clearly, it was well done. Thank you, Billy.
Oh, awesome, man.
Glad you enjoyed it, man.
Thank you for the feedback, brother.
If you haven't heard it yet, you too can sign up. Patreon.com/BWO. Or if you're on YouTube and hit that join button, $10 tier, it's already there waiting for you. Let's see. This week it's going to be a bit on the opposite side. I'm aware that both of you aren't big fans of the Michael Bay Transformers. If I can clarify, I actually liked the first one. The rest of them were crap. But I won't lie, as a diehard... Where is it?
Uh-oh.
As a Transformers diehard, like I have it all.
Oh, my God.
When in 2007, sitting in the theater and watching that semi-truck roll up to Shia LaBeouf and then and it did that the first time, I marked the hell out. It had me. Yeah. And Bumblebee, obviously, the big characters. But the rest of them were crap.
But Bumblebee didn't even talk.
He did too. He talked through the radio.
He spoke.
Anyway.
Peter Cullen came back as Optimus Prime. That's all you need to know.
Yes. I can't even attempt to get down to where he talks.
No. Peter Cullen's on his own level.
A freaking legend in voiceover. Let's see. I'm a simple man with simple taste. They have explosions, pretty colors, and pretty women. Obviously, I like them for the most part then. However, every damn movie retcons the history established on the previous film. The Transformers' arrival on Earth is changed every time. It really ticks me off. Me too.
Amen. Stupid.
Forgivable once,
retcons.
maybe, and I enjoyed the total retcon of the Bumblebee movie as it was a reboot. I have not seen that one yet. That's the one with Cena, right?
Good. Cena's
Okay.
in that. I've heard it's good. I've heard it's real good. Oh, I need to see it.
It was a
I just
reboot
hate
and a dang good one at that.
Yeah.
So, what movie sequels piss you off by doing a retcon or ruining the ending of the previous film or films? Halloween is infamous for this sin. Part 5 ruined 4's ending. 6 ruined 5's.
Oh.
Resurrection ruined the ending of H2O. So vent to me and let me know which movies commit this sin. I'm sure I've seen them, but if not, I'll add them to my list. Thank you and good night, phenoms, she-noms, and all non-bioms. Binoms. Non-binoms.
Thank you, Billy. There is only one movie that comes immediately to mind here. I don't even know if you'd call it like it retcons, but it basically just takes a shit on the previous movie. It takes all of the point of the previous movie and just wipes its ass with it and goes, we're starting over. Alien 3. It's not even a retcon. It keeps the continuity.
No, you're right, because they discover them, Newt and Ripley, in the escape vehicle, in the shuttle, and they're pulled into the jail planet.
But then, like, Ripley somehow has an alien queen impregnated inside her. Like, when did that happen? Like, they basically make up shit to just make the movie happen. Like, that never happened. When did that, like, that's not how the rules work. They just made shit up so that you could have Ripley die at the end of Alien 3. Spoiler alert to a 30-year-old movie.
Right.
But it was complete and utter bullshit. That was one where I guess it's not a retcon per se, but you talk about a sequel that's took the previous movies and wiped its ass with them. That's the worst offender I can think of. They killed the franchise with that. And if you go read the comic books of Aliens, they had a whole everything's like Alien Earth War, the whole timeline after that. They get back to Earth and all the aliens, of course, because the aliens they get by the time they get back, the Weyland-Yutani Corporation has found the aliens and they've bred them on Earth, so they're too late anyway because of the time dilation in space. So
I'm not even mad at Alien
awesome.
3. You know what I'm mad at? Prometheus and whatever the Covenant movie was.
Perfect. And those are retcons. Those are proper retcons. Yeah. And they're awful.
They're abysmal. They are Ridley, I love you. You are my dude. But those were just you over Ridley'd them, man.
Oh God, Jay Wolf just threw a great one in the chat. Highlander 2.
We're from another planet. Yes.
We're from another planet.
That is a quality answer.
100 bits.
Yes.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank
you for the 100 bits as well.
That's the other big one. What the bleep me, Nick, right the hell now. What the actual fuck is that shit? What was that garbage? You had such a great concept, and there have been great Highlander, like the series was great, the anime was amazing. I heard they're redoing it. But my God, what the crap was that? Yeah, excellent call.
Good call.
But yes, going back to Prometheus and the Aliens prequels, there's a big issue I have with science fiction. I'm going to go off on a goddamn tangent now.
Pull your string.
There's a big issue I have. Oh, here we go. There's a big problem I have with science fiction in general, and that's this idea of humanocentrism, where when we go out and we explore the vastness of space, and we're always somehow ending up being the most important species, right? Everyone else is bipedal humanoids, and for some reason we're the most special bipedal humanoid of all in space. In Star Trek, you had the founders who created all the other races, and that's why they were all bipedal, because they were based on the founders or the shapeshifters, right, in DS9. But the humans, of course, were the ones that were going to unify everybody else. In Mass Effect, you had the Reapers were there to kind of wipe out the universe every time, And then you had all these civilizations that have been created for millennia. The humans were the finally, get to the point where we can join those other civilizations, and then we're the best one of all of them for some freaking reason. It's unnecessary. And again, in the Alien franchise, one of the things that made Alien work so well in the beginning was because this vast Lovecraftian feeling that there were these intergalactic forces that we couldn't possibly understand, that were so vast and beyond our knowing, that made it scary because it felt like it made us small. Yeah. We were the small, insignificant piece of pond scum on the surface of a pond, and there were these big things swimming in the pond beneath us that we couldn't possibly comprehend with our limited vision. And that's what made Alien so scary. This was like a flea on the skin of some giant creature, and it wiped out all of us and was so far beyond our ability to fight that it was terrifying. Yeah. But as soon as you make it all about humans, oh no, this was all caused by humans and humans had to do with it makes the universe seem that much smaller. And one of the things that makes the universe scary is the size and vastness of it. And so when you minimize that to just humanity, it diminishes so much of what makes those horrific concepts special. And that's one of the things that made those prequels ruin the rest of the franchise by retconning that concept of this intergalactic horror, this cosmic horror that you had in the initial couple of movies.
You know what the worst offense?
Okay, rant
well, I'm gonna tie a bow on it. The worst offense of Prometheus is that John Spates, one of the original writers of the Alien stuff, had an actual spec script to do a proper prequel of how the craft landed on that planet, LV-426.
Sure.
How the queen was born and bred and all that stuff. He had it all written out. For some reason, Ridley Scott felt it necessary to hand it to one of the most hated writers in all of movies.
Aronofsky.
No. Damon Lindelof.
Lindelof. That's what I meant. Not Aronofsky.
The guy that couldn't figure out how to close off Lost.
He couldn't figure out, like, they're literally
let's
their
make him
writer's
time
room in
travel.
Lost.
Yeah, let's do that. And then Smoke
the writer's
Monster,
room in Lost was let's continue to ask questions. Everything is about let's answer every answer with a question on that show. Garbage show. They even end the show with a question because they had no idea the entire time. Like, oh yeah, we know where we're going. They never had any idea where they're going, and I knew it by season 3. I'm like, you guys have no freaking idea what you're doing. Lindelof does that all these ideas, and he doesn't have any landing for them. He doesn't know where it's. You know what it is? It's the Hollywood equivalent of WWE booking. Let's just do this. Let's give Big E the briefcase. We don't know how we're going to get it off of him. Let's just do it. We'll figure it out down the road. You know how often that pays off? Not often. You can luck into some good stuff sometimes, but you've got to be real careful with that kind of writing. Real careful.
The guy that wrote the ending of Lost, I'm going to do air quotes and say ending, is the guy that wrote, well, the original work for Prometheus was John Spates, one of the co-writers of the original trilogy, or the original 2. Worked with both Ridley and James Cameron. He had a spec script. He had it mapped out.
Neil Blomkamp was going to do a sequel, proper sequel.
He was geeked out about it. Yeah.
He was
going to pick it up after Aliens as well. That was what was exciting about it. Like, he was going Alien back 3 and Resurrection and all that other shit.
Yeah, like the new Halloween trilogy is picking up after Halloween 1. There's no Halloween 2. There's no Alien 3. We're picking it up where the series should have picked up all those years ago and going straight from Aliens into all the rest of the awesome stuff. Sigourney Weaver even was in talks with him. There's all the pre-production stills you can look at, and she was like, this is the Alien sequel that should exist. And no, instead we got Prometheus and whatever.
Ridley messengered it over to Lindelof to punch it up, and he ended up rewriting the whole thing, and Ridley liked it enough to redo it. That's the story of Prometheus.
Yeah. Crap.
Poop. Thank you, Billy.
There you go, Billy.
You triggered us.
You so
much. Triggered us hard.
You pulled our string. It's an Alien Day today.
Thank you, sir. Next up, Jay Reyes over in the YouTube chat. What's up, man? I see you over there. Says, hey, guys, I'm a little late getting my question in, so I hope it isn't too late for this week. Never.
You're good.
I recently started getting into some games I never got around to playing, like the Mass Effect series, Prey. I love Prey. It's very underrated. Borderlands, Fallout 4, and Destiny. I'm mostly an RPG, fighting games, and sports games kind of guy, but as someone that loves my sci-fi, I started checking these out to see what I'm missing. So far, not disappointed. What'd you say? Mass Effect, Prey, Borderlands, Fallout 4, yeah, all of those are great. What games have you gone back to play after it has been out a while, if any? What are your favorites? Any sci-fi recommendations? I'm not really a first-person shooter player, but I would give anything with a good story a shot. Since you said you're an RPG player, I'm going to point you in one direction and one direction only. And this is going to come off as a shock because I wiped my backside with it in 2016 when it came out, and that is No Man's Sky.
They fixed that game.
That game over the last 6 years, 5 years, has had expansion after expansion. They've had their problems, but they have taken what was a disaster of a launch. If you thought the Cyberpunk 77 thing, 2077 thing was bad, this one it took the cake. But Hello Games has turned it around. Sean, what's his name at Hello Games and they have given you an absolute RPG masterpiece where you're literally flying around an infinite universe. And that's not hyperbole. It is literally infinite. It constantly creates as you expand and explore. And it's got gathering, it's got crafting, you can build cities, your friends can come in and play, and it's all set in space. And you have flight battles and all kinds of shit. Finish the ones that you're playing because they're all good, but once you finish the campaigns, go get lost in No Man's Sky.
A lot of recommendations as well. Nick has one. I've got one as well. Outer Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
If you like the Fallout kind of stuff, it's by the guys who did Fallout New Vegas. They originally wrote the original Fallout games before Bethesda took over. Outer Worlds is an incredible. If you like sci-fi, that is high sci-fi. That one, and it's fun as hell. Great characters, great writing. It is RPG up the hoo-ha. Great stuff. I mean, you can literally play the game and kill every single character and be the most evil son of a bitch in the universe and still finish the game. That they've created it so that you can play in nearly any play style you want. That's one to check out. And then hold on to your britches because they are remaking Dead Space. The greatest horror sci-fi game of all time, full stop.
If you've never played Diablo 2, that's getting a remaster at the end of September.
It's not sci-fi.
Well, it's not sci-fi, but it's an action RPG.
Fantasy. That's fantasy.
He's asking about demons and shit. It's fantasy as hell.
It's sci-fi. It's not sci-fi. That's what I'm saying. It's fantasy.
You go to hell to kill Satan. Very science fiction. That a lot of science involved in that fiction. You're talking about fantasy fiction. We're talking about science. Right.
Science.
If you've never played Diablo 2 though, just know that at the end of the month here in a couple of weeks, they're launching the complete remaster. Absolute action RPG masterpiece. Okay. And you know it is.
Nothing to do with science fiction.
I agree.
Science fiction.
He asked what are our favorites.
Yeah, okay. That's not science fiction.
Okay. Thank you, Jay. Next up, Andy Jessup says, hello, gents. Hope you guys recovered from Sunday's phenomenal night. That was 8 to 9 hours.
Still shaking.
Of just from the buy-in to the time that I actually went to bed was about 8 hours, 9 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long night. Kyle said Nick just described the plot of Doom, and that's absolutely sci-fi.
You fight demons and go to hell. Damn it, he's right.
He is right.
Damn it, he's right.
It doesn't matter that you have to jump through Mars.
But at least there's like technology. There's portals they're using science to create the portals as opposed to magic. I'm going to wave my hands and little sparkles are going to come out and there's a portal to hell.
You played Diablo 2. When you're out and about,
oh God,
killing demons,
we're not going to come on.
What do you create to go back to town?
With magic you're going to make little sparkles come out of your hand and create a town portal. Yes. You're not going to use technology to create a warp in time space. There's no science involved. It's magic. It's the difference between fantasy and sci-fi. Sci-fi, the science is the magic, and in fantasy, there's little sparkles coming out of your hands is the fantasy. There's fairies that are using magic to create things in fantasy. Sci-fi, they're aliens.
I love you.
I love you too.
Let's see. Remember, giving smiles is free and can make a person's day. My question is
Very
AEW related tonight, but
Very
towards Rampage more specifically. The commentary team, and more specifically Chris Jericho. Is he needed there? What exactly is he adding? In my view, he is just excitedly shouting nonsense, not allowing others to breathe in the role, and is very distracting to the show. Your thoughts, please. Also, who is your underappreciated wrestler of the week?
That's two. First of all, Chris Jericho on commentary. There's been times that I've loved him on commentary, and he's brought a lot of excitement and some pretty good calls, and he's actually interacted with the other announcers in a very fun way. And there's been times where he has been very over the top and unnecessary, and it's the Chris Jericho show.
Yeah.
So for me, he's hit and miss. And I feel like he took the note from the first time he was on Rampage when he was just and he was just screaming and yelling. I think he took the note fairly well and has pulled it back and made it more like, I've got to give other guys some space. But that's a big ass desk. What, 4 or 5 guys on the desk at once? That's too big of a commentary team.
I don't personally feel like Chris Jericho adds anything. As it hurts my heart to say, I don't feel like Mark Henry adds that much, and I don't think he has the voice for it. He doesn't have the diaphragm for it. He like to project and make a. You need to have a big voice, and you need to project your. Instead, we get a little Mark Henry back here talking like that.
There's a place for Mark Henry. I just don't think that he should be a featured announcer as much.
True.
And yeah, that's kind of how they're using him. And I mean, Jericho doesn't really have an announcer's voice either. As Andy's saying here, he just kind of gets on there and goes, rah, 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 you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, he's got some great references. He's good at calling moves. He's got a lot of history in his head, and I feel like a lot of times he does bring a lot of that to the product. But it's also very easy for it to become the Chris Jericho show. And that's the danger with him.
They found their sweet spot, I think, with a 2-man desk with Taz and Excalibur. That's been my favorite commentary combo on Dark.
That tends to get a little too casual for me sometimes. Like,
Taz,
Taz
I
will
like
just
Taz on
go off on a
color, and I
tangent.
like it. You can't not love Excalibur's play-by-play.
Excalibur and Shivani are a great team, I think. I like them better than Excalibur and Taz.
That's true. That's true. I do appreciate and respect that one. Absolutely.
And JR
Tony brings the
when
history,
he's on,
the legacy.
and when you got the three of them, you got JR, Tony, and Excalibur. When JR is on, when he's awake, that's the best team they have, in my opinion. When JR is not awake, God help us all.
I mean, he
JR
said Big
is
Show
on,
and Ruby
he's still-
Riott on Sunday on All Out, and I know you were singing his
He
praises,
did.
and I was just like,
He bumbled.
that cannot be smiled
he
upon
bumbled
backstage.
twice. No, but it's, I don't think he's going to get yelled at the way he would in WWE for it, and he's probably kicking himself over it. But he was also, there was a lot of stuff he did on Sunday. He kicked ass. So
Yeah.
if he misspoke a couple times, Lord knows we've misspoke on this show before.
No.
I know. How many times did I call Red Velvet Velvet Sky?
Well, I wasn't too mad about that one.
I'm just saying. Still the same thing. So the bottom line is that when JR is on, I still think that he and Shivani and Excalibur are the best team. What is Andy Jessup's question? What does Jericho bring to it? He brings his own character. He brings a lot of excitement. It's honestly, like, I do see Jericho's value there when he doesn't turn it into the Chris Jericho show. I can see why they would want to have him back on commentary. He's had a couple times on commentary. He's been very exciting and has brought a lot to the matches. But when it's a big desk and there's a lot of guys already on there, yes, he does sometimes tend to overpower it.
I don't
And it's
need
just a
him
matter of-
calling moves over the top of Excalibur trying to do the same, though.
Exactly.
That's the
what I'm
difference. We need one play-by-play guy, one person calling moves, one person because otherwise you might call it something different. And if there's one person I trust to get the name of the move right, it's freaking Excalibur.
And don't have it be above a 3-person desk.
Yeah, it's too
having
much.
a 4 or 5 people is too much. If you want to have someone come in as commentary for a specific match, then fine. but then they go away and it's back to being a 3 or 4 person
Yeah.
desk. Like it just gets too
The
bloated.
guest
and too big,
commentary
and
is a
they're
different
talking
thing,
to
though.
each
When Kingston would show up,
Yeah.
when Don Callis sits down at the desk, like, right?
other. Don Callis is a great.
Adding
And some of
additional
the-
sort of evil heel color to things like that, I'm
Yeah.
all for.
Some of the patter is great. Like Shivani and Callis on
Like-
Sunday was great.
I'm not convinced that Shivani and Callis don't have real heat.
That's
Like
that's-
real beef with
well,
each
that's-
other.
And that means it's good
Yeah.
stuff. That means it's good
Like,
stuff.
I
So,
actually
there you
thought
go,
at one
Andy.
point Shivani was going to get up and whip his ass.
Oh, underappreciated wrestler of the week was Andy's second half. Here.
Oh, yeah.
Who's your underappreciated wrestler of the week? I got mine.
The week?
Yep. I'll go if you need to
Ray Phoenix.
take a second. Is Ray Phoenix ever really underappreciated though? Every time he goes out there, he blows people's minds.
But I don't think he's in the same conversations that he needs to be. I feel like he blows people's minds, yes, but I think because of his strong accent, because of his inability to promo well or any of that kind of stuff, he's often underappreciated and overlooked. Andrade's getting all this spotlight. And even
Yeah.
people that speak in Spanish say,
Yeah.
we understand him, but it's still a little bit kind of mealy mouth, mumbly. So, but he's getting all this spotlight in $1,000 suits with all these promos and everything. Where's Phoenix? Why Andrade shows up and all of a sudden, like, so that's mine. Look at what that man just
All right.
tightrope walked the bar on top of a steel cage 20 feet in the air
Oh God.
and PK'd one of the Jacksons off the top of it. Like, Ray Phoenix.
All right, fair enough. Mine is Xavier Woods.
Thank you. Well said.
4.5 matches on Raw. Oftentimes he was the one involved in the finish and doing, frankly, most of the work in the match.
Yeah.
That dude this week, in my opinion, was Raw.
Yeah.
And kicked ass. And like I said, wheelbarrow facebuster. When was the last time you saw that?
I don't remember.
That was the Chris Jenkins move. What a maneuver of the week.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So Xavier Woods for me.
Way better than mine, for sure. Not to take anything away from that tightrope walking on top of a cage.
You were talking about underappreciated. There you go. There you go, Mr. Andy.
Yes, thank you, Andy.
And thank you as always, sir, for being one of our awesome mods.
Yes.
We know you had some extra work this week. We really appreciate everything that you guys do. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And
Very
if you wouldn't mind, phenomenal ones, send your thanks to our moderators. They do the hard work for us to keep the groups and the chats safe. Thank you, guys.
Indeed.
Next up, Mr. Marshall Enlow says, "Evening, fellas." As we come down from our
Marshall.
high that was all out with all the
Marshall.
Marshall.
Enlow.
So I guess he has kind of been, yeah.
He said, please don't call me that last week, but I can't help it.
Okay.
Sorry.
As we come down from our high that was all out with all the debuts, it had me thinking of a potential problem in the future. AEW is acquiring a fairly sized roster, and with that comes fewer and fewer spots, and some wrestlers might feel like opportunities are out of reach. What does Tony Khan have to do to maintain the positive atmosphere they seem to have and keep everyone positive so that they are valuable to the product? Thank you guys for everything you do and making sure this podcast reminds us everybody dies. Yes.
Nice. Here's the thing. Growing and having more shows. They got 4 shows now. That's a really great way to do it.
Yep. Cody and Brandy are doing a Ms. and Mrs. show.
Yeah, have cycle people around, which they seem to be doing.
They're going to get
Have those
mainstream
shows.
recognition on cable TV.
Here's a great example. Big Swole and Diamante are having a killer feud over on Dark.
Yeah.
Right? The more shows you have, the more people that can be having these feuds at different levels. And if everyone's kind of watching themselves and making sure that they're getting booked the way that they feel will get them over, like I feel like Diamante and Swole are having a feud that's elevating both of them right now. That's how you do it, is make sure that there is valid wrestling and exciting feuds happening on every program. If you've never watched Dark or Elevation, you'd have very little idea of who the Wingmen are, but they're crushing it with that gimmick on those other shows. So yeah, they've got 110, 115 people in AEW right now, But with all of that time during the week, you theoretically have enough time to get everyone doing something. Or at least if they're not doing something, they can appear on TV. There's no reason why anyone shouldn't be being active.
And if they're even not have being the active, kind of viral YouTube thing that's BTE. Don't overlook that. That has a following.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And there's other people like Sammy Guevara and his vlog. Like, there's all kinds of ways to get yourself over in AEW, and you're allowed to. You're allowed to look at Fuego del Sol. He was an internet sensation.
Yep.
He got himself over on the internet. So there's not just being on TV and getting booked on TV. There's lots of other ways to do it. And create yourself and make yourself be a viable star. And yes, Fuego had like one match on Rampage and he got squashed by Miro. And that's all that anyone who just watches Rampage or Dynamite's going to see of him. You dig deeper, there's lots of stuff there. And that makes AEW, I think, a very viable promotion, because something that I think is lacking in other promotions is depth.
Yeah.
Even in New Japan, there's a certain point at which it just starts getting kind of less interesting. But AEW, you have to dig pretty deep before you find stuff that's a little, you're kind of like, all right, this isn't that interesting. And they're frankly, I think, doing a good job with that with their existing roster. Now, we have talked about how the middle and top of the card is getting awful packed.
Yeah.
The more big stars you get, the tougher that's going to be. We've even seen Jon Moxley go down, and he's got to go fight guys from New Japan to have anything to do, because you got to keep him away from the title picture if he's doing anything in the upper card. So, but there's now that potential. Daniel Bryan doesn't have to just go and be in the top of the card. He can go have dream matches with people on the side, have nothing to do with the title, and have great matches. So I personally think that with also the fact that AEW doesn't tend to do a lot of rematches means that you can have a lot of exciting stuff go on, and it doesn't always have to be about the titles. So far, they've shown they can keep that interesting. But obviously, we're 2 years in.
Broken Wheelchair just said something in chat. He said if this was WWE, Fuego would have been thrown off the stage in my old wheelchair. And all I could think about was Paul Rudd playing Mac and Me on Conan's show, where that scene where the kid rolls off the cliff in his wheelchair. I'm sorry.
Wow. Wow. I got the Zack Ryder reference. I got you, Broken Wheelchair. I got you. I don't think Fuego would have even had, because I don't even remember, but Zack Ryder had like a whole run as U.S. champ. He had there was all kinds of TV. I don't think Fuego would have even had that much.
No.
He wouldn't even have that much, man.
You're going a little robotic over there. I hope it's your
Yeah.
internet, not mine. Either way.
Probably.
Yep.
Thanks, Spectrum.
And thank you, Marshall. The only thing, what does Tony Khan have to do to maintain the positive atmosphere they seem to have and keep everyone positive? It's really comes down. Look, right now there's kind of a plan. The thing about AEW is that Tony Khan is not a booker. He's a billionaire's son that had a wild idea and wanted to do something cool, and there's not really the wrestlers are getting to tell their own stories. They're getting to book their own storylines, and so far it's been a hit and miss of different kind of storylines. Some of them are knocking it out of the park. Some of the other stuff, not so much. It was a little dodgy at the start, but it was exciting, right?
And they fast. Yeah. But you said Tony Khan's not a booker. And no, he's never booked a wrestling promotion before, but neither did anybody until they started. But he's also a student of the game, and he surrounded himself by guys who have booked before and who also know a lot about professional wrestling. So he's created an environment where he's not the sole booker, but he makes a lot of the final decisions and has an opinion on what works and what doesn't. And then is surrounded by people that also know the business and are helping him book, helping him make the final decisions as well. So I think it's a great situation there. I think it already is very positive. Look how positive everyone is going over there. Look at Daniel Bryan saying, I love WWE. They are my family. Vince gave me his blessing. It was a really hard decision to leave WWE, but I had to come here to AEW because of what they're doing. You can't get a bigger endorsement for AEW than Daniel Bryan saying it was an insanely hard decision to leave WWE because they were going to give me everything that I wanted. But I had to come to AEW because of what they've built here.
Yeah. And I want to be a part of it.
You talk about positive. That sounds like it's pretty positive.
The 2 times, and there's a lot of faith built into that as well.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
The 2 times that I've done a tech startup, there's no promise that it's going to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of just got to go in. You got to have a passion for it and think that it's something they're doing something really cool to join it, especially when you're like one of the first 50 people in the door.
Well, he's not the first 50 people.
I understand,
that's like,
but
Moxley would be on that level. But at this point, Daniel Bryan's going there as someone who's like, it's now more established. Like, he's like, they're doing something now.
Oh yeah, and I don't know that he would have come in. Well, he would have. But anyway, we're getting sidetracked. We got to get out of here.
It's positive. The
Thank
bottom
you,
line is positive. Thank you very
Yes.
much, Marshall. Very much appreciated, dude.
Finally, Asesino Silencioso.
Asesino.
He's corrected us with Google Translate. It's silencioso.
Oh, okay.
Asesino silencioso.
Okay. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Derek. It says, ladies and gentlemen, I have received an email from the anonymous Raw general manager. It reads, and I quote, just kidding, I didn't receive an email. Good times, right, guys? Anywho, I hope you guys in the BWO universe are all doing well. Simple question this week, and you may not even be able to answer it, but here it goes.
All right.
What's on your mind right now? Is there anything you want to talk about or get off your chest? That's it, and that's all. Thanks for all your hard work. And as always, remember, kindness is free, so don't be a dick. That's a T-shirt, Derek. You should put that on a T-shirt. Kindness is free, don't be a dick. Yeah. Thank you, Derek. Ian, what's on your mind right now? Is there anything you want to talk about or get off your chest?
Well, one thing I do want to say is
Derek's
Andy,
given us this. I mean, he pays good monthly money to give us this opportunity to get anything off of our chest.
Well, before I get anything off my chest, I do want to throw out on the previous topic. Andy threw in 100 bits and said, we just had a pay-per-view without Hangman Page, Dark Order, Lance Archer, Ricky Starks, and Brian Cage, Dustin and Cody Rhodes, and they weren't missed. Such is their strength in depth.
Bravo.
Couldn't say it better. Thank you very much, Andy.
Well said.
What is on my mind? I don't know, man. I've just been talking straight for 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
There's not a lot left on my mind at this point. What's on my mind? I'm excited that Halloween's coming. I'm very excited for the fact that we're in September. It's now autumn. It's the Halloween season. To me, my autumn starts somewhere in August. But as you can tell, I'm ready. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to go watch a horror movie. I just had a 20 ounces of pumpkin spice Imperial Russian Stout. I am ready to go this year for the Halloween season. The Horrorpalooza show this year is going to be absolutely batshit insane. Some of the movies I've got lined up are going to be nuts. I can't stop watching the trailer for Antlers. It's going to be the first movie I watch for this season. I'm just throwing that out there right now. October 1st, Antlers. It's happening. Could not be more excited. I've wanted a Wendigo movie for years. It's finally happening. So that's what's on my mind is just Halloween. I'm gonna, once we're done with the show here, I'm lighting the candles. I'm turning on the pumpkins, and it's gonna be, it's going to be Halloween time. And I couldn't. Satan, is that you? Oh, wow! I'm so ready for Halloween. I'm hearing Satan laughing now. That's
he's just teasing you.
I know. That's okay. I kind of like it.
I think I got off my chest what I wanted to say earlier when we were having the big discussion on the main show about the what you like, what you don't like kind of stuff. And I think I'll throw in my 2 cents that I'm not sure as a fan, if we didn't have this show, that I would be anxious to tune into Raw right now. SmackDown has my attention. I'm curious about, I'm always going to watch the Roman Reigns stuff because I'm you got me. Like, I want to see where this goes, especially with the draft coming up allegedly sometime in the next month or so. But I have to admit, I'm not sure that I would watch Raw as a fan. I'm not sure I would be in a hurry to. I might record it. I might DVR it. I might skim through it and check it out.
Watch it live.
I would be hard. I would be hard pressed to sit down for 3 hours every Monday night at this point. That's been on my chest recently. How do we continue to be lively and vibrant with the show and maintain the positive attitude that we've have when the stuff's not good? We've learned how to navigate that over the years.
You're pulling down the curtain.
Yeah, and it's well, I'm trying to say my perspective as a fan because there's a lot of angst in the wrestling fandom community right now about the various promotions and stuff, and I think that I'm high as a kite on AEW right now. I think they're firing on all cylinders like they never have, and I have hopes that it's only going to get better with what we saw happen on Sunday. But I'm not letting them off the hook. They've invested. I have invested a lot in some of the key storylines. I'll give you a key example. FTR came in hot. FTR was one of my favorite tag teams. They came in absolutely hot, driving a truck up to the side of Daly's place, just looking like badasses.
Yeah, they've
mostly gotten kind of washed away. The match with Proud and Powerful should have been a classic. It's LAX versus Revival. Like how can you not build that bigger? Like that's a big tag team bout on a pay-per-view.
And instead it was just good.
Yeah. So they're not without fault. They are not infallible. They are not perfect. They are not the end all be all of professional wrestling, right? And I want to make sure that we levy critique where it's due, regardless of what the brand name is. So I'm looking at this like my personal fandoms, if we didn't have the show, I'd probably skim through Raw, see what happened. Maybe I would just watch Simon break it down in 15 minutes, or I'd watch a show like Busted Wide Open to hear what they had to say about it. Right. But yeah, it's, I have come around on being skeptically optimistic about the NXT changes. I'd say that's something that's, I'm being that's next week, next Tuesday. Yeah. A week from tonight. I'm anxious to see. I'm anxious and optimistic, but I'm also going a little bit. So yeah, as a fan, it's an interesting time. It's an excellent time to be a fan of wrestling.
Jesus, yes.
It's an interesting time. It's an excellent time, and there's a lot of change happening in the world of wrestling, good and potentially bad. So there's pluses and minuses to everything.
I'm not even going to put it on a scale of good and bad. It's just everything's very interesting right now. It's a great time to be sitting here.
The good and bad part is subjective.
Talking about it. Yeah, right, exactly. And I'll end it with this. And that is that when it comes to like Raw, for example, like I know what you're getting at.
Yeah.
And that's definitely one of the things that's why we had so much critique for it this week, is that it's for a 3-hour show. Like even diehard WWE people, I am curious if it's an easy show to get through at 3 hours with the content that they're producing. I'm actually curious. Like, is it something that you guys are? Because I consider myself someone who's a fan of WWE, but that show still can be a slog. Like, I'll openly admit it. It can be a lot. And this week, I don't know if I would have watched it live, but I definitely would have watched it. They had a lot of I felt entertaining stuff this week, and they've had some Raws where I was just like, this was terrible, nothing worthwhile.
Yeah.
Recently. So I feel you, and I think again it is subjective in that way. But man, it's tough to watch a 3-hour wrestling show with the amount of filler that I think inarguably they throw on there. There's a lot of recaps.
There's literally a lot of an hour of commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I know this because I've watched versions of the show where they cut the commercials out.
Right.
And it's barely over 2 hours.
Yeah.
2 hours and 4 minutes or something like that. It changes. But, I mean, I'm really one of those anti-commercial guys. And it just winds me up when they cut away to commercials. And they've tried to fix that with the picture-in-picture stuff. But doing that for, like, you can do that for an hour show. You can do that for a 2-hour show at a stretch.
Right.
3 hours, man, that's in this day and age and technology and streaming and everything. It's just tough. It's tough to get through 3 hours these days.
And it's a fairly common concern, and has been since it went to 3 hours. Like we're not saying anything new. We're not reinventing the wheel with this criticism of it. But at the same time, like it is worth bringing up, and I'm glad you're getting it off your chest. So there you go, Derek. Like that's what's on our minds right now.
Not necessarily a moment of positivity, but you asked. What's on my mind? What's on my mind is moving to Las Vegas. Listen, to close out the show here tonight, guys, I'll give you guys a bit of a closer. It's going to be an interesting couple of months. Just to give you guys a heads up here at the end of the show, the week of not next week, but the week after, we're going to be off. Ian's going to be traveling. I'm going to be traveling. So the week of the 20th, we'll be off. So we'll miss those, but we'll be back in time for Extreme Rules on the 26th, and we'll have a recap show. And then things start getting really interesting at the end of October. And this is a long heads up, but Nick's moving across the country again. So a lot of the weight of things are going to be sat on the shoulders of Mr. Dangerous, because I don't know. We're going to start tearing the house down probably the beginning of the week of the 24th, 23rd, 24th of October. And I'm not going to have a computer or internet. So live streams, episodes. You've seen JB on the sticker, on the masthead, the new imagery.
Yep.
I feel like you and JB are going to be carrying a little bit of weight as I relocate to Sin City.
I'm going to try and get her to clear her schedule for us. We're
going to try and set Ian up to see if he can host some live streams. That'd be fun.
Yep.
But at a minimum, there will be audio stuff for you patrons.
She has expressed that she would like to come back. Obviously, she loves working on the show, so she can. We'll try and get some more JB appearances here.
Yeah.
In the near future. I'm not sure if she's in the chat right now or not, but yeah.
She was earlier. I think she's not there anymore. But anyway, just giving you guys, you patrons especially, you supporters, a heads up. The next couple of months are going to be a little dodgy, so bear with me. Relocating again. Here we are 3 years later, moving back across the country. I'll be back in the Ian time zone. So, Marshall said JB needs to have a Miz gimmick. What Miz gimmick? His own talk show?
She cuts a promo on us?
BWO TV.
JB TV?
JB TV. That'd be good.
JB TV.
Where she just does fashion breakdown. Oh, she's like the what's the crew with Joan, what's her name, that does the red carpet stuff at the Oscars?
Oh, yeah, Joan Crawford.
Yeah. Just have something where she's just watching entrances of female wrestlers or just female and male wrestlers just tearing their wardrobe apart or praising how good it is. Oh my God, what shoes do you have on?
Yep. praising or tearing apart wardrobes, loving Charlotte Flair and hating Adam Cole. That's pretty much her gimmick.
Yes.
And sneaking off to soirees with Drew McIntyre. Which is apparently that's all her gimmick right now.
Yep. So there you go, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Linktree.com/BWO. You guys know where all the stuff is. Make sure to click that like button, the subscribes and the follows and the shares and all of that stuff, because it really does matter. We really appreciate it. It helps get the word out. You can also find BWOmerch.com linked there to pick up some sweet swag for yourself. T-shirts, hoodies, big old mouse pads, coffee mugs, all kinds of good stuff. Stickers. You guys like stickers? Everybody likes stickers. The merch for SummerSlam should be going out this week as well, so we'll make sure to get that out for all of the winners, and we'll have to sort out whatever Martin's going to do with the thing, the booby chief necklace.
Yeah, the tribal chief necklace.
The lay
booby chief necklace.
Booby chief necklace. Yeah. We'll get all that sorted out this week, and thank you guys for being patient with me on that. What other business we have? Linktree.com/BWO. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back on a Friday night to break down what goes on Dynamite, Rampage, and of course SmackDown and NXT as well. But until then, my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God,
would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.